Hello. This is, I guess, the first chapter, and what I'd like to tell you is why France. Um, I'm sure you all have this secret wish or desire or love affair that you have with a particular place, whether it's a country or a restaurant or an amusement park, whatever that might be. And for me, it's France. And my love affair started in the 7th grade when I was taking French lessons in junior high school. And Madam Olsen, she was the coolest teacher. She had the coolest GoGo boots and she was beautiful. I don't know, she seemed like Snow White or Cinderella to me. She was just beautiful. And she taught France, and I just associated the beauty and the style with Madame Olsen and just fell in love with the French language and Monsieur and Madame Thibault, who were the characters in the books. And from that point on, France was something that I aspired to be. Not necessarily living there, because I also wanted to play in Wimbledon, right? So it was just always something that was in the back of my head. And the first time I visited France was in 1983. And again, even then I wasn't thinking about moving there, but it was always something that was in the back of my mind. Never anything that I actually took seriously, but it was a dream. And I think that's why France. And as I got to know French people and the style, and I traveled there, I fell more in love with the way of life. Kind of Madame Olsen took a back seat, and the way of life, the joie de vivre, the unhurriedness, the focus and the priorities that they place on beauty and doing things because it's good for the soul, doing things because it's beautiful, doing things because it's the way the tradition has always had it done. That's really what I fell more and more and more in love with. So that's why France. Now, how I ended up getting here is a whole different story, because every year too, I think there was probably a 4 or 5 year period where I did not visit France, but I've been here a number of times, so I became quite familiar with it. And I think the first time I really realized that I could live here was in 1998. I ended up transferring with my career with JP Morgan. I transferred to New York. And I worked with companies who had subsidiaries and business structures outside of the US and helping them manage the treasury cash flow. And France was one of those foreign places where many of the clients had subsidiaries. And that, I think, is probably the first time I thought realistically that it was possible. And so in 1999, I was here visiting a friend who had a transfer and was actually working out of the JP Morgan office in Paris. I was so envious. But I came to visit her, and the more we talked about life in Paris in particular, life in France in general, one of the things she said to me was that you really need to have a checking account here. Now, this is before 9/11, before the craziness of the security and know your customer and FATCA and all of the reporting that you have to do on international bank accounts. So I lucked out there and I opened up a checking account with CCF, which became HSBC, which is now CCF again. So I had the account in 1999 and I funded it with part of a bonus check that I had. And that's the account that I used whenever I would come visit. So I always had a local account. So that's really, I think, the first foot in the door. And the next, I think, thought that I had about moving came in 2017, 2018. So there's almost 20 years between these two times. I mean, I'd had, thoughts about it, but nothing seriously where I was going to take a step to do something towards that goal. And I'll talk more about kind of what led to that in the next chapter, but it's not something that I really had a long-term plan. I didn't open the account in 1999 and think, okay, by the 2005, I will do this and so, or I need to have X number of dollars in the account, or these things have to happen in my career. It was none of that. It was just that I knew I had to have a checking account, so I opened it. And that was really it. So whatever it's just little micro steps. And I know it sounds disgusting, but one of my favorite sayings in a disgusting way is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's micro steps. And so I just took that micro step. And I think because of that, it opened up the opportunity for, in 2017, it actually being something I felt I could do. There was one less hurdle I had to figure out. So if there's anything that you're thinking about, you don't have to put a big stake in the ground and, take a huge step or make a big investment. You just have to give yourself the grace of possibility, right? And take one little micro step. So that's what I'll leave you with is whatever it is that you're looking to do, whether it's big or small, just one little micro step, because it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't even have to be a lot or nothing. It can be just a tiny little drip. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening. And if you're not already a subscriber, click below and subscribe. Thanks.